The long-awaited 7.2 patch is coming out March 28th. I guess that's all the news we need to know, right? Hey, it's Soul, bringing you the World of Warcraft. It is March 28th, 2017. This is Warcraft Weekly, where I just kind of smash all the favorite news that I saw this week and I spit it back at you. But first things first, ladies and gentlemen, how was your week? I'd love to hear from you all what your wins, your losses, the cool things that had happened in the World of Warcraft for you this week. As a special little thing, I'm going to do my very first and hopefully not the last WoW token giveaway. It's only available for folks in the US. I'm very sorry. All you have to do is leave a comment below, and at next week's news, I'm going to announce the winner, but try to make it fun. Like I said, I'd love to hear how your guys' week was. For me, the week was a little bit rough. I didn't get Heroic Ghoul down like I wanted to on Tuesday or Thursday. In fact, Thursday was pretty rough. So next week, hopefully the guild will rally, more folks will show up. 7.2 is going to come out. Maybe some of the changes will be of benefit to us. First, let's recap. I did a Protection Paladin guide for 7.2. Talked about some of the changes, new artifact stuff, the really awesome change with Avenger Shield that I really hope stays in. After reading Warcraft Chronicles Part 2, I got a lot more comfortable with, hey, you know what, I think I know how to beat the Legion. So I talked about how the Burning Legion operates, how Sargeras works, and just kind of how to beat him in either in the context of Warcraft the MMO and from a lore standpoint. But I guess that this week's theme was more like gold based. I was really focused on gold making. I did a thing like I showed you guys how I made money in 1 week as a scribe, and I'm starting a new series where I'm kind of handicapping myself and just trying to put myself through brutal conditions, but see if I can make gold anyway. Right now, I'm using my expertise as a pretty good scribe to just roll a new tune on a new server and to see if I can make some gold just selling one kind of glyph. So far, I made a couple grand, and well, that's pretty cool. Just the other day, there was yet another Q&A with Josh Allen and this time Ryan Schwader. This Q&A was all about content in the context of 7.2, which again is going to come next week. Ryan went over a good bit of the specifics that are going to happen in 7.2 with regards to like the Legion Fall campaign, just how like the buildings are going to work, all the Broken Shore stuff. To be honest, there wasn't a whole lot of new information, and some of the questions that were asked, they were the kind of questions that kind of put Blizzard on sort of the defensive. You know, they were explaining their ideas behind certain design philosophies. But I'm going to highlight just a small number of things that came out of that I didn't quite know myself, or I guess I should have known. So when the Legion assaults happen throughout the Broken Shore, even if you're leveling, you can still do them, but you won't be able to do all of them. For max level players who have access to world quests, their world quests are going to be replaced with these special Legion world quests. But if you're leveling and you normally don't have world quests, well, you do now. These instead are going to show up like bonus objectives, so I think this is going to be some pretty fast leveling that you'll be able to take advantage of whenever you happen to be in the area. Thanks to the level scaling, you'll be able to participate alongside the big bad level 110 people without fear of getting killed by the mobs. Of course, if you're on a PvP server, you probably want to stay away from those areas instead. The Legion Fall campaign is going to be 11 weeks long. You're going to get one quest pretty much every week up until the end, which I presume means that in 11 to 13 weeks, we're going to see the Tomb of Sargeras. In my opinion, the time frame on that is not bad at all. That's going to mean that we have pretty much another 3 months or so of the Nighthold to complete, so we have time to get our Bleeding Edge, our Ahead of the Curve, you know, those kinds of achievements, or to just kind of dick around and just screw around and do stuff. I've been hearing different kinds of concerns from players about, in this case, oh, maybe the content is coming out too fast. People feel overwhelmed, and that's something that we've been seeing from the high-end band of PvE content as well. They've been saying, oh, we just want to try and relax, but now we got to get ready and prepare for, this next raid that's going to come. We don't get a break. I think 3 months does sound good, so it addresses that part of the player base, but I don't know, everyone has something to complain about, right? So, we have this one camp that says, hey, content's coming out too fast. We have another camp that's saying, hey, this isn't going fast enough. Like, for example, the 11-week campaign, people are like, oh, well, that's time gating, Soul. That's just Blizzard's way of keeping us subscribed. And it's like, yeah, no shit. I see it as content pacing. It's kind of the same thing as those those souls that we had to get, or that we didn't really have to get from doing mythic dungeons and other related content. That was all specifically paced to get players to not just front load everything and then have nothing to do afterwards. And then of course there are people that look at 7.2 and they'd be like, well, this doesn't isn't really content. I don't care about, all the crap that I'm going to do in the Broken Shore. I don't give a fuck about nether shards and any of that. I just want to get to the good stuff. So you have these 3+ camps, because there's definitely more. You have all these different kinds of players that are complaining about something, and one thing that have in common is that they're complaining about something, and it creates this really bad negative atmosphere and bad outlook of the game when it might not be. The game definitely does have issues in my opinion, but then if you try to empathize with each of these different kinds of players, then you just kind of look at everything and be like, well, I guess there's something that everyone's gonna complain about, right? Anyway, moving on. The guesstimated time as to when flying will be unlocked for the average to high-end player is going to be in the number of weeks as opposed to months, as opposed to Warlords of Draenor when we were kind of front-loaded. Hey, this is all the stuff that you got to do to unlock flying, and we had not a lot of time to prep. There were a lot of players that were like, okay, well, I already did all these objectives for Warlords Pathfinder or whatever that was called. But there were a lot of people that were kind of caught with their pants down. At least with Legion Pathfinder, the requirements have been pretty upfront and pretty obvious, because one, we have a reference to look back on, and two, Blizzard has just been telling us. So it won't take long, and I appreciate that, but there's one thing that I don't think I said it yet. I tried flying around on the PTR. I did not find anything that was like, ooh, this is a place that can only be accessed through flights, or this is going to be content or environments that are only accessible by flying there. I didn't find anything like that, and that was kind of disappointing. I was really hoping for certain kinds of world quests that just involved, hey, you gotta fly there in order to access that stuff. And maybe they'll do that, maybe it'll come in another patch, because with every patch that's come out, they've been adding more and more world quests, so maybe they'll do something. But I didn't happen to see any specific environments that couldn't be accessible by land otherwise. I say that as kind of a testament to Blizzard's dedication at creating more effective landmass, unlike Warlords, where they had, like those treasures, you had to do this pretty annoying platforming in order to get to these treasures that had kind of junk. But at least all I have to do is go around a corner and go up this kind of hidden path that's, to me, it feels kind of immersive and it's kind of cool. Oh, and Jaina Proudmoore, unfortunately she's not going to be in 7.2. Sorry. I bet she's probably waiting behind the scenes down in protein shakes and lifting, so that way when the current avatar Sargeras dies, she's going to take over. She's like, oh, okay, Illidan didn't cut it. The dead avatar person, that thing couldn't cut it. My turn. The prices of character servers over on the EU side of WoW is going to go up by what looks like kind of a lot. So the price of the WoW token isn't going to change, but pretty much all of the services, for example, name changes and transfers or race changes or gender, faction, all those things, it's going to go up by either 5 or 10 euros. And I'm like, damn, dude. Blizzard citing market changes in this case, but I don't know, the prices already seem pretty high. Looking over at the EU WoW forums, which, typically is so full of sunshine and happiness, folks are pretty pissed. Now, understandably, these are optional services. You don't have to do a transfer. You can't just roll a new tune and so on and so forth. But I think I get what these people are saying. WoW is a pretty old game, guys. I mean, it's 12 or so years old, and you'd figure that after a certain point, prices would start going down instead of up. I mean, yes, these are optional services, but there's kind of a line to draw when it comes to deciding, okay, I can't afford to do a character transfer, so screw it, I'm just gonna stop playing the game. There are situations where these optional services no longer become quite optional because of circumstances. Oh, my guild is moving over here, or they're changing factions, and I want to go with them, I want to follow. So again, they have one or two choices. They can either re-roll or they can pay these services. I think it's a little bit less fair, and keep in mind, I'm not from Europe, so I don't quite understand the economics between the different member nations, but I'm pretty sure that the increase from 55 to 65 euros, depending on where you live, is huge. That's like a game breaker, I'm sure. And that's pretty much the news for this week. That was pretty light. Obviously, the 7.2 launch date is the dominating thing that's going on, and 7.2 is coming. So I know I didn't cover a lot on 7.2 because, one, a lot of other people are already. But even then, it was just a lot of stuff that I don't want to pour too much energy into. I wanted to try to do, I wanted to try to do other content instead. So thank you so much for making it to the end. As always, you can reach me on Twitter or Facebook, or again in the comment comment below. And once again, I'm going to do a giveaway. Leave a comment, tell me how your week was, and you just might win a WoW token. You can also catch me on stream every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 10 Pacific Standard Time. Drop a line, say what's up, watch my guild suffer, as I always make them do. I know this is a little embarrassing, but fuck it. Tomorrow's my 1-year anniversary with my wife, so I love you. Thank you so much for the 1 year and the many years to come. So that's it for me. Like and sub to support the channel, and as always, have a great weekend, because I will. I'm Soul. Stay breezy, guys.